April?
Hi, Janie.
Hey, okay, I just want to make sure you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. I think the conference room just hasn't connected us yet.
Yeah, okay, so this is Martin Luther King, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool, thank you. What day is it, right?
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
Hello, cannot hear you, Damon, if you're talking to us. At least I can't.
Nope.
Oh, there we go. Hey, can you all hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Are the
We'll
printed
get started.
materials there, Damon?
No, no.
Jeff's not there yet, okay.
Nope.
He should be in there any minute.
Should be good. All right. Thanks, Herschel. Appreciate it.
But you do have the presentation.
Yes, that's up on the screen. Oh,
Cool.
Yeah, hot mic right
going
there.
live here.
Let's see.
Testing. All right, can everybody hear my voice? It's loud and clear? All right, I'll ask everyone if you can start having a seat so we can get the evening started. It would be greatly appreciated. Everyone online, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. I'm going to minimize you all so I can see the presentation. All right. Is everybody warm and comfortable? You don't have snow flurries hitting you from outside? We're ready to get started this evening. So welcome. This is our third public meeting, bringing together a culmination of all of the great input and everything that you have provided to this process. We are excited about the Dream Center campus. So these first few slides, God, I think I saw Aaron, that round of applause, yes. The Dream Center campus. All right, we want to make sure everybody is awake and energized and excited about what this process has led us to and the journey that we're on together. So I'll go through a few slides to give summary of the process and things that we've heard that have led us to where we are. So again, every time we have these, we're going to remind you of the purpose. The purpose is to transform the King Center. Oh, wait. I simply love the fact that we have to use the bleachers. That means we have people here to fill up the seats. So the project purpose is to transform the King Center into a world-class, intergenerational community Dream Center campus, inspiring hope for us all. The process, so we are in phase one of the process, which is the pre-design, the programming, and the concept development. It was highly focused on engaging the community, engaging to get your feedback, your input, and your thoughts on what this Dream Center campus should become. Phase two is what we have one more meeting in April. I'll go through the dates in the next slide. But to complete phase one, we have the final celebration in which we'll take any additional feedback we receive tonight and incorporate it and add it into the final presentation. So you have opportunity tonight. It's not just for you to look at and say, if you love it, which we hope you do, great. But we want to hear as much feedback as we can so we can continue incorporating it. Phase two, we will take after the final celebration, any feedback from there, and then start going into the detail phases of the project, starting to create construction documents. Oh, yes. One moment, please. Commercial break. World class, and got louder. There, now it's good. Loud is good. Okay. World class means that this community deserves just as good as any other community in this world. and it is bringing to this community, adding value by bringing something that is exceptional, something that has come directly from each and every person, or as many people that have participated, to create what is from your heart that is world class. And that establishes something that's of excellence, of high quality, it's sustainable, and all of the other words that we've collected that represents the excellence that Dr. King fought for, and all those before us that have fought for us to have a better and brighter future. That's world class. Yep. So we don't want me to have to go into preacher mode, and then I'll start asking for amens after each comment, right? Phase 2, we go into the detailed design. And then after phase 2, phase 3, which would be the construction phase. And then we will be building the dream. Switch back. Okay, these are the dates. So the top slides, the first 11 weeks is what we all went through together of collecting information, collecting data to get us to where we are today. We are at public meeting number 3, which is today, March 10th, and the final presentation of phase 1 is April 7th. This is a summary page for what we've heard. These are the words we heard during the first advisory group meeting, and what we asked was, what do you envision for the new MLK Dream Center? And what you see, the bigger words on the slide represent what most people communicated. So we had that information put into, of course, an image of Dr. King, and it shows wow, joy, life, safe, quality, love. And a lot of these are not bricks and mortar. They're about the heart and soul of what this existing center in this community represent. So that is exactly what we wanted to make sure we carried, even though we will transition into the new center. We wanted to make sure the foundation and the heart of everything that we do and incorporate is taken from the passion and the already existing history and passion of what's here from this site and from each of the hearts of the people in the community. So what we asked in public meeting number, is that a hand raise? Yes.
From the King Center down in Atlanta, his kids to anybody like that?
The question was, have we contacted anyone from the King Center in Atlanta? No, not, well, I can't speak on behalf of the city, but I haven't, and our team has not yet. But it is intended that we would have hopefully the representation of the family there. Now, I can say my 4-year-old son and I visited there because he did a presentation a few weeks ago, and we went and visited and walked all of the existing sites. But we haven't invited anyone outside of this community yet for this project.
Phil, his sons, that's been up probably all over the world. You should get some input. Let them know what we're trying to do in South Bend.
Duly noted. Duly noted. Okay. So public meeting number 2, we asked 5 questions. Each table had the opportunity to provide feedback and input. I'm not going to read word for word, but just give some highlights from the questions that we asked and some of the feedback that we received. Flip these up so I can see it. What programs and services do you like most about the existing MLK Center? Which are most important to you? Weightlifting, fitness classes, basketball leagues, help blow off steam, summer camps, outdoor market, the programs that are best, basketball camp, summer camp, people should develop skills when competing, senior citizens programming, after-school programs, no-cost programs. So these were some of the highlights from that question. Would you prefer a facility with more recreational spaces or more community spaces? A good mix of both. Recreational will be bigger in size because it naturally takes up more space. Want a raised second floor track. Find ways to make spaces flexible, both, but be balanced. Be able to host events and tournaments. Multifunctional and flexible. Recreational. This specific facility should be used for recreation and sports. More programming space. So those are some of the nuggets from that question. What improvements and or additional programs and services would you like to see in the new facility? Membership, reciprocating YMCA, a detached garage for MLK vehicles, explore concepts for indoor playground, music program and new sports, space to run clubs for different ages, updated computer lab with more technology, entrepreneurial support, green screen, podcast room, gaming center. Next question. What amenities and recreational activities do you want us to incorporate into the site design? Outdoor shelter, connectivity throughout site, accommodations for a variety of outdoor events, consider durability, flexible finishes to accommodate different functions, temporary flooring in the gym for community events, small kids play area, vignette spaces, courtyard spaces for social interaction. Are there barriers that keep you from using or visiting the existing MLK Center? If so, what are they? Not attractive from the outside. Transportation. Need bilingual space for Hispanic community. People think area is not safe. Transportation again. Transportation was a big one. Getting people to the center. So these next several slides, it's a summary, and at each table, there's a packet in the middle or somewhere on the table that has details that you can look through that is a summary of the feedback that has been received through all of the different platforms in the public meetings, the community advisory group meetings, surveys, online, note cards, postcards, you name it, sticky notes, public meetings, survey, and other information. So the pieces of individual feedback that have been received equal 592 in total. That's quite a bit of feedback, and that is exceptional that the community has provided this much input and feedback into building the dream. So I'm not going to go through these in detail because they're on your table, and each table can look through it and read some of the details that are associated with it. Some of the key points of data that were received were about the breakdown of spaces for community center, education, sports, and then the pie charts, the circles start to break and show that you can see on the table the different percentages that people felt more strongly about in importance to be incorporated. What people are saying: heal the neighborhood, keep outdoor area and trees, more windows, more light, which is definitely something this lacks in this existing facility. So we wanted to make sure we address that for sure. And then you can read on other elements. So what we've done, and as we move into the design and engineering phase, we took all of that input, the 592 pieces of information, and as organization and structure, we've incorporated into what we call a program. And that program outlines the key overall spaces. So 1 through 6 show lobby and circulation. That's when you come into the building and have a reception desk and all those associated spaces. Office suite with administrative space, fitness and commercial kitchen space, program activity, restrooms, and some other support spaces, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and back of house spaces. So we took key elements from everything that was communicated, and for sure you won't be able to read, well, at least I can't even from this area. So each of the spaces, we've included big picture wise, gymnasium, track, commercial kitchen, cafeteria, multi-purpose spaces, teen room, indoor play area, gaming space, Wi-Fi and technology throughout, yoga and dance studio, outdoor terrace. So these are some of the big components that as we go through, you'll be able to see in the design as it is now starting to take shape. This is not the building. These are what we call mood or precedent images to give reference, because several of the slides that we show, most people have a difficult time understanding what we call 2D drawings, flat drawings. When we show site plan and floor plan, it's like being in a helicopter or an airplane looking down on the building. So sometimes that's difficult to understand. So in order to give you reference, since we don't have a lot of the detail yet, this is still conceptual, these help you see some built buildings that we are thinking of some of these elements, the canopies, the glass, the light that would inspire we can be inspired by what you've said and take these elements to show you, okay, we're thinking of, for example, if I move away from the mic, I want to move the mic. Yeah, okay. So I don't want to block view, but when we start to see windows and glazing and how that can bring in natural daylight, looking at taller entry space that gives height and prominence to the space and for different activities that can be done. Seeing how the natural daylight in the windows help to make the spaces feel better. Outdoor space with canopies that protect you from the sun so you can use it in different times, even when it's raining. Maybe not when it's cold outside and snowing, but if you want to go out there, you can. These are images which show, again, even if in this space, when you look at the colors and the materials and the paint selection, it feels a little dark and heavy. So what we want to do is incorporate elements that, again, add natural light and brighten up the space, and it brings vibrancy and joy and pleasure. And also windows also help you, and good lighting help you to think and feel a certain way. So colors help you feel and think a certain way. It impacts your energy and your mood. So we've looked to show images that would represent us wanting to create the space to help bring that vibrancy and energy into all the activities that you do. Then we also looked at taking the information for exterior spaces. So you definitely communicated you wanted to keep the athletic courts, and instead of just basketball, there was asking for pickleball. So I'm not sure how many pickleball players we have in the room tonight. I didn't even know what it was, so I've never played pickleball in my life or even seen anybody play pickleball. But hopefully, since it was asked for, we're going to get people to sign up and go out and play some pickleball in this community, right? Other outdoor activation. So outdoor playground. So we'll go to, there are images of outdoor playground spaces for all different ages, places you can go out and sit and read a book, places you can lay out on the grass if you want. And the biggest ask was a multi-purpose field. So we've considered that so that you can do multiple activities and not just one fixed activity. Now that's the completion of the first part of this presentation tonight. So just to give you a heads up on how this will flow, I'm going to go through now everything that is represented in words and start to show you how it is translated into design concepts and the initial thoughts for the concept of the building. We will, after the presentation, pass out a packet to each table with these slides so that you can use the pens and add comments. If you love it, I want to hear thunderous applause and jumping up and down and running around in circles and all that good stuff. But you also, it's not final, okay? It's the initial concept. So we want input and feedback continuously so that we can make sure we capture exactly what it is this community will have when it's completed. So from everything that's been said, I'm going to take you through, these are concept diagrams. So these are the thoughts of initial converting of the words into design. So what we have here is this initial diagram was the first diagram that was created. And it might be difficult for, if you see, you'll have it available. We wanted to capture the essence of Dr. King and everything that represented his life and what you communicated you wanted as a community and the elements of life, of humanity. So this initial diagram shows, the first thing you see is the red cross. And that cross represents, of course, he's the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. And his spirituality and his relationship with God was primary for his purpose on this earth and what led him to do what he did. So we use that as a benchmark to help identify the main circulation, the walking areas through the building. That is a strong foundational element. And we looked at the three primary elements of humanity, of a human, which is the spirit, the mind, and the body. And understanding that the mind being of education, you know, Dr. King was a little genius. He had 3 degrees, finished, he was going to college at the age of 15, and a lot of that's not talked about to our children, that he was a scholar. He fought and learned and was able to excel educationally, and that's an important factor for, especially we're sitting on the site to where the Linden School used to be as well. So that ties into the history that we want to make sure we tie into the building. Of course, administration, but the diagram for the mind, education, the spirit, and having a place of contemplation, having the place to dream and connect to the purpose of what even this community exists for is important. And then, of course, the body relates to the physical fitness activities that we utilize in the space that we're in the gym. So these were initial sketches for, if you took a knife and cut through the building, it shows a gym, it shows an outdoor terrace on one level, and there are other elements. So even, you know, there's a poster here that shows the Memphis Lorraine Hotel. So we wanted every aspect of what this project is going to be to relate to some type of history, even from having his birthday noted as one of the room numbers, 115, room 115, to have the main circulation path that we talked about with the spirit, Auburn Street, which is the street he was born on and where his house is, that my son and I were just able to walk a few weeks ago, to in a balcony, the terrace, to be called the balcony of brotherhood, that represents what this poster is on the wall, and the brotherhood that stood by him. And actually they're all Greeks as well. They're all in fraternity. So it's a combination of the brotherhood that supported that journey through the civil rights, but also the fraternal bond of the different organizations that were represented. So every single thing that will be in this building will have representation of history, that we'll be able to tell stories and be able to share the history of not just Dr. King, but the history of Linden and the Linden School history and the history of South Bend, and tie in every single aspect of sharing that knowledge and information with current generations and future generations. And I'm going to go through these next several slides pretty quick because they are the initial thinking and concepts. Then we'll get to some of the more fun images. Again, so this was starting to look at the same diagram and starting to look at what we call elevation sketches. So looking at, the bigger, taller space would be the gym, and then the administrative and other aspects would be the one-story building. So having a two-story gym and a one-story, how do you begin to put these pieces together so that it creates art and creates world-class design, showing terrace and keeping the trees that was mentioned as well. Where will we put glazing and add that natural daylight into the space? These are more study diagrams. And then we had to study how to best use the site. I'm going to tell you this, you all ask for a lot of stuff. You ask for a lot. And that's what we ask you to do. We ask you to dream, but it's tough to fit everything in. So we've done our best to squeeze as much into this project as possible. And it's going to evolve. It gets real after this first phase, and you start to dig into a lot of the technicalities of the design. So it's going to tweak and change, but it will be everything that represents this community. So there's just a lot of different diagrams and sketches that designers do when we're thinking through how to put the mind, the body, the spirit, and circulation and the site all together. So these are several different sketches and studies that we done. Then we start to refine it as we start to, we thought about the man and the mission. There was a mission that Dr. King was on to fulfill while he was on this earth. And he's helped us to be in a better place today, along with all those who were linked up in arms with him, to have us to be able to continue that journey. So the man and the mission, to look at what these different aspects of who he was and that movement was and how it influences the design. And these are more sketches and studies of the blue area is looking at studying where's glass, and the white areas are or the gray areas are studying where does the solid, where you won't have any windows. So we have to study that, because you just can't make you can, but we won't make just a big glass building. We have to, there's functionality and other aspects that we study. Here are some other, as we lead into the other images that we'll show, these are some aspects of looking at how the lobby could be, and having imagery that tells stories, and have artwork and different things that activate your mind and your intellect and learning of Dr. King, the history, and the city, this community, and integrate that into the space. This image of the track, so the proposed track that'll be in the building, we thought about not just having it for physical conditioning, walking, running, jogging, whatever, but to also have that track represent history. And I don't know who is going to do it, but we've talked about having the Civil Rights March that they led. It's 54 miles, everybody. It's 54 miles. That's a lot of walking. But over a period of time, you can keep track of how much you've walked until you've completed that march, and have information on the walls, information that can be shared that you can be educated about what that meant. There were several marches, of course, so we can have it so that it becomes educational, and we can have a program that lists what those marches were, how long were those marches, and when you're exercising, you can actually be walking in the footsteps and embodying what they went through for us to be able to walk on an indoor raised track and enjoy it, where they had to suffer in the march that they did. There are some studies that we've been looking at for history wall precedent. So how we're looking at different areas in the building where we can dedicate to tie in information and timelines of that history of not just the civil rights and Dr. King, but for this community and the history of the Linden School, et cetera, and the leaders that are from this community that have, you know, Dr. King sometimes and a lot of those civil rights leaders, they seem very far away. They're in textbooks and TV, and we didn't necessarily feel and touch them. But there are leaders from this community that you have met with, that you have worked with, that have moved us to be able to do what we're doing today as well. This is the site plan concept. So now you're getting into seeing the information that we took. And again, you're looking at this from a helicopter or airplane looking down on the entire site. Okay, so what you're seeing here is a multi-purpose field that has some markings that could still be utilized for a softball or baseball game. It could be used for soccer. It could be used for American football. I mean, it's multi-purpose. It's not final, but it's a multi-purpose field that would allow a lot of different uses. Playground areas, maintaining as many trees as possible in the site and having some in the middle. Shifting the basketball courts over to the north side, Linden, and so we can shift the parking down so that we can shift the new Dream Center building to the northwest corner of College and Linden. That, for several reasons, is a question, and I'll address it now. The question came, why not just keep this building and let's put some paint on it and renovate it and reuse this building? One, the effort we would put into this building still won't create everything that you asked for. It just won't. With everything you ask for, we would be extremely limited to renovate this building. Two, to keep it in this site, in this location, would minimize how much site we have available to do the outdoor programming that you've asked for. So shifting the building over allows us more outdoor space, in addition to giving you a new facility which incorporates a majority of everything you've asked for. So that was the goal. So this white box here would be the new Dream Center building. We have parking just to the south of it with the main entry that would be on the south side of the building. So that's the big picture. We have 2 basketball courts. You currently have 3, but we have, based on what everyone asked for, there's 2 outdoor courts, and there are pickleball courts incorporated in there. I'm also going to share that what you see in this plan, there's an empty area. We're considering other options that we'll know by April 7th that we can communicate, but it's a placeholder for potentially adding a little bit more area to the building. So we have to study several things. The reality is, to do the project, you need money, and you need to have area, and you need to have parking, and all of these things have to work together. So we have to take everything that you've asked for. We have to look at the dollars we have, and we have to look at the space that we have, and we have to make it all work together. And that's the process we're in now, that we're seeing how much can we get into this building, how much can we get into this site with how much money we have. Okay. this now, so now we zoomed in. So we're still in a helicopter or an airplane, but this colored plan, this is the floor plan of the new building. So just to give you reference, we're in a gym right now. This represents the gym. Okay, so if you can imagine looking at everything else in plan, if we're in the gym, this is what this looks like. That's what this box is. That's a gym. So we have, of course, the biggest piece of the puzzle is the gym, and that drives a lot of the circulation and how the building's laid out. So that's a primary element in there. Then we have the blue spaces are the program spaces. So we have maker space and art room. We have music and video recording room and podcast room. We have a teen lounge. We have a large multi-purpose space that can be divided into 3 smaller meeting space. So if you have multiple events, you can divide it up, and then you can not have to wait 2 hours until the other programs finish. You can have multiple programs all at the same time. And then we have a commercial kitchen, which will serve seating for potential the cafeteria space. It can also open up to an outdoor patio where you can have some outdoor seating to eat outside in the nice weather, not when it's snowing outside like right now. Then we have, of course, toilets and some back of house spaces, garage that was requested. We have indoor playground area. The entry, of course, in this atrium / reception with learning style terrace stairs that go up to the 2nd floor, but it's large enough also that if you wanted to sit there and be on your laptop or your device just hanging out reading a book, you have that space as well. We have a large administrative area for the offices and the staff that will work there. And then we have some other program spaces for childcare, the mental health room, security, program room. So these were some of the more functional programs that were requested in the space. And then the corner piece is what we're calling the dream room. The dream room is where the community comes together and continues to show unity and love and brainstorm and have community meetings and do different things to help advance the community even further. And you can do it'll be an open space, so you can do training, you can do some entrepreneurial classes and different things in there, but it'll be a key focus that's on that intersection that'll be glass, and it'll light up, and it'll serve as that beacon of light, that beacon of hope as people approach the King Center and be proud of the dreams that are being created and for the community. This is the 2nd floor. So that was the 1st floor. So the 2nd floor of the gym. So imagine around the perimeter of this gym, there's a track that you can go and walk or jog or run on. And of course, there's an elevator. So we show an elevator in there for those who need an elevator. And we also have the stairs to go up as well. And then we also have the dance studios, yoga studio, and the weight room as well. So one of the things in the exercises we're going to study is what's up and what's down. So that's one of the questions you'll have in your packet. Do you prefer for certain spaces to be on the 2nd floor as opposed to the 1st floor, and what we have on the 2nd floor? So you'll be able to comment on those elements as well. Then we have an area that's in the center of the building where the stairs are, the monumental stairs. It's open, so it's a 2-story open space so that you can look down and see the activities, or look up and see activities that allow a lot of openness in that space. All right, so those are 2D floor plans. So now we'll show you the 3D models. When you extrude and you start to create the boxes that form and shape this design. So this is the concept for the new King Center. Now, what we are looking at is, so it doesn't have color, it doesn't have materials. What it has is it's showing the height, the scale, it's showing glazing, it's showing entry, it's showing canopies, it's showing essentially everything that you've asked for in the building. So this is the administrative corner. This would be the main entry. You'd have a circle drive, or not circle, but a drive and drop off. So when it's raining or cold or snowing, you have opportunity to be dropped off at the front door, and then you can, whoever's driving can circle around and go to the parking. This corner is the Dream Center or the Dream Room. This is the gym above it, and this is the outdoor terrace. So big picture, this is, and I know it might be difficult to see, so you'll have these packets on your table so that you can see a lot more clearly. And the next several slides are just different angles that to show the building from if you're in different locations. So this view is if you're southwest of the building. So here you are looking at the gym. This is the corner of the gym, and then the corner of the Dream Room. This is if you just went up in a helicopter a little bit and you're looking down onto the roof terrace and looking towards the gym, and you see the park area back here. That's where the multi-purpose sports field is, the parking, and the new Dream Center on the site. And this is another view of the building. So the canopy, what we felt would be interesting, most of the time when you have a canopy, you have columns that hold it up. So instead of just putting normal round or square columns, we thought it would be interesting to utilize the initials of MLK to serve as the columns for the canopy. So it's a few extra pieces of steel for the columns, but it would create something that is immediately identifiable as you come by the building. This is another view looking up, if you're at human scale, looking up at the building. And I believe you like that. How many people like that? All right. And it's just getting started. It's just getting started. So we have a lot more seasoning and salt and pepper to put on it to add some spice to it. So, but this is essentially everything that you've asked for except swimming pool. So no comments on the table for swimming pool. I'm sorry. The question was, can we switch out the pickleball and put a swimming pool? Now, since I've never played pickleball, I would probably be in favor of that because I have swum before, but we more than likely, I mean, if when you saw the site, there's not even a space for the swimming pool. And yes. So now we are going to pass out, if we can go ahead and pass out the packets. And with the packets, there are 5 questions. So if you can go through the drawings and the questions and provide feedback for the questions, it would help us greatly. Are there any questions while I'm up here? If you want me to go back to any of the slides, or you prefer? All right, we'll break out in the groups. I'll come around to each table. So if you have questions for me, I'll come around to each table. Thank you. Thank you all for joining. I hope you've all compiled some comments and responses to the questions, to the drawings. We need that feedback so we can continue to evolve and continue to improve everything that has been done. So we are going to call this a close. If there are any other questions that I can float around after we close it out, but definitely wanted to thank everybody for coming out and contributing to the Dream Center campus and everything that's being done. So thank you and have a great evening, and tell everybody you can, April 7th. We're going to do the grand finale and have all the updates from the feedback. So April 7th, invite 10 people each and bring them back. But thank you very much. Have a great evening.